When the market drops, the first thing beginners should do is very simple. Do not let the red screen make the first decision for you. Do not panic sell just because prices are down. Do not blindly buy the dip just because prices are cheaper. And do not pretend you can magically guess the exact bottom. Your first job is to separate the money by deadline, check whether your original plan still makes sense, and only act through a rule you would still respect when you are calm. That is the whole game. Welcome to Grow with Tony. Simple money lessons for education only, not financial advice. A market drop feels personal when you are new. You open your account, everything is red, and suddenly your brain starts asking very dramatic questions. Did I start investing at the worst possible time? Should I sell before this gets worse? Should I buy more because everything is on sale? What if this is the big crash everyone warned me about? That feeling is normal, but normal does not mean useful. The market does not care that you are scared. It also does not care that you are excited. It just moves. So the beginner advantage is not predicting the move. The beginner advantage is having a response that does not depend on your mood. I call it the red screen protocol. Pause, sort, check. Act only through a rule. That sounds almost too simple, but most investing mistakes during market drops happen because people skip one of those steps. They skip the pause and sell because fear feels urgent. They skip the sorting and treat emergency money like retirement money. They skip the check and forget why they bought the investment in the first place. Or they skip the rule and start buying random things because the dip sounds like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Let me make this real. Imagine a beginner investor named Sam. Sam finally starts investing. Nothing crazy. A broad market fund, maybe a retirement account, maybe a small taxable account, and a few individual stocks because learning by doing feels exciting. For a while, everything feels fine. Then the market drops. Not in a clean, polite way. It drops in the annoying way markets usually drop. Bad headlines, scary thumbnails, people online acting like they knew this would happen all along, and a portfolio screen that suddenly looks like it has been dipped in red paint. Sam looks at the account and feels three urges at once. First urge, sell everything and stop the pain. Second urge, buy more immediately before missing the discount. Third urge, stop investing completely until things feel normal again. All three urges feel logical in the moment, but all three can be wrong if they are not connected to a plan. So, step one is the pause. This does not mean ignore the market forever. It means do not place a trade while your nervous system is acting like the portfolio app is a fire alarm. Give yourself a short cooling off period. 1 hour, 1 evening, 1 full day if you need it. During that pause, your job is not to find the perfect prediction. Your job is to stop fear from becoming an order ticket. Because panic selling has a nasty trick. It feels like you are gaining control. You click sell, the red numbers stop moving, and for a second you feel relief. But what actually happened, you turned a market decline into a personal decision. Maybe selling was right? Sometimes, a holding really does not belong. Sometimes, the reason for owning it was weak. Sometimes, your timeline changed. But I got scared is not a complete investment thesis. The better question is not, how do I stop the pain right now? The better question is, what job was this money supposed to do? That is step 2. Sort the money. Every dollar in your account does not have the same job. Some money is soon money. This is money you may need for rent, an emergency fund, a car, tuition, a house down payment, taxes, or anything with a short deadline. Soon money does not get to be brave. Its job is to be available. If a market drop makes you realize that money you need soon is sitting in risky investments, the problem is not the drop. The problem is that the money was mislabeled. Then there is long-term money. This is retirement money, wealth-building money, or money attached to a goal many years away. Long-term money has a different job. It is allowed to experience volatility because the goal is not to look perfect next week. The goal is to grow over years and decades while still matching your risk tolerance. And then there is learning money. This is the smaller part where a beginner might test ideas, own a few individual stocks, or learn how different investments behave. Learning money can be useful. But it has to stay small enough that a mistake becomes tuition, not a financial disaster. This three-bucket sort changes everything, because when the market drops, the answer is different for each bucket. Soon money asks, can I afford this volatility? Long-term money asks, does this still fit the plan? Learning money asks, was this a real idea? Or was I just chasing excitement? If you do not sort the buckets, the loudest emotion wins. And the loudest emotion during a market drop is usually not wisdom. Now, step 3 is the check. Ask one question. Did the reason change, or did only the price change? This is one of the most useful questions a beginner can learn. If you bought a broad, diversified fund for long-term retirement and the market falls, the price changed. But did the reason change? Maybe not. Your time horizon may still be long. Your monthly investing plan may still be the same. Your goal may still be retirement, not next Friday. In that case, a market drop is uncomfortable, but it is not automatically new information about your plan. But if you bought a random stock because someone online said it was obvious and now it is falling, the drop may expose something different. Maybe you never had a reason. Maybe you only had a story. That is a different problem. This is why never sell is too simplistic. Sometimes holding is discipline. Sometimes holding is denial. The difference is whether the investment still has a clear job and a plan you understand. So if the reason still holds, do not let the price alone bully you. If the reason was weak, use the drop as a lesson. And if the money had the wrong deadline, fix the structure carefully instead of pretending confidence will solve a cash flow problem. Now let us talk about the question every beginner asks. Should I buy the dip? My honest answer is maybe, but only if buying the dip is just your plan doing what it already said it would do. If you invest a set amount every month into a diversified long-term portfolio and the market drops, continuing that schedule can make sense for many long-term investors. That is the basic idea behind dollar-cost averaging, investing equal portions at regular intervals regardless of whether the market is up or down. The benefit is not that it guarantees a profit. It does not. The benefit is that it reduces the number of emotional decisions you have to make. You are not waking up every morning trying to decide whether today is the magical bottom. You are following a schedule. That schedule becomes a guardrail. But buying the dip becomes dangerous when it turns into adrenaline. Stocks are down, so I should use my emergency fund. No, this risky stock is down 40%, so it must be a bargain. Not necessarily. I was already too concentrated, but now I will double down because I want to get back to even. That is not a plan. That is revenge with a brokerage account. So before buying more during a market drop, ask 5 questions. Do I have enough cash for real emergencies? Is this money genuinely long-term? Does buying more keep my portfolio near my target allocation or make it riskier than I can handle? Am I buying a diversified investment I understand or chasing one exciting loser? And if the market dropped another 20% after I bought, would I still respect this decision? If you cannot answer those calmly, the answer may not be buy now. The answer may be write the rule first. This is where beginners often misunderstand successful investors. They hear be greedy when others are fearful, and they think it means every red day is a shopping spree. But professional discipline is not just buying when things fall. It is knowing what you want to own, why you want to own it, how much of it belongs in the portfolio, and what risk you are accepting before the market starts screaming. Buying more without that structure is not courage. It is just another emotional trade wearing a confident outfit. Now, there is another action beginners should understand: rebalancing. Rebalancing means bringing your portfolio back toward the asset allocation you originally chose. For example, maybe your plan says you want a certain mix of stocks, bonds, and cash. After a market move, that mix can drift. In a big stock rally, stocks may become too large a portion of the portfolio. In a big stock decline, stocks may become smaller than your target. Rebalancing is not about predicting tomorrow. It is about returning to the risk level you already decided was appropriate. That can be done on a calendar like once or twice a year, or based on a threshold, when the portfolio drifts too far from target. But be careful. Rebalancing can create transaction costs or tax consequences, especially in taxable accounts. So this is not a random button to press every time CNBC looks nervous. It is a rule. Notice the pattern. The best responses to market drops are usually boring before the drop happens. A written investing schedule, a target allocation, a cash reserve, a maximum size for risky positions, a rebalancing rule, a list of what each holding is supposed to do. The drop does not create the plan. The drop reveals whether the plan exists. That is the middle of this whole video. The market drop is not asking, "Are you brave?" It is asking, which dollars were mislabeled? If emergency money was invested like retirement money, the drop exposed mislabeled dollars. If learning money became half the portfolio, the drop exposed mislabeled dollars. If a stock you barely understood became a major holding because it went up before, the drop exposed mislabeled dollars. If you told yourself you had a long-term plan but one red week made you want to quit, the drop exposed a mismatch between spreadsheet risk and emotional risk. That is not shameful. That is useful information. Markets are expensive teachers if you refuse to learn. But they can be useful teachers if you turn the pain into better rules. So what should a beginner actually do today when the market drops? Here is the practical checklist. First, do a 24-hour no-panic rule for any major decision. You can look, you can learn, you can review, but no fear trades. Second, label the money needed within the next few years. That money probably needs safety and liquidity more than market upside. Needed decades from now? That money can usually think in a very different time frame. Just for learning? Keep it sized like learning, not like a life plan. Third, write the reason for each major holding. One sentence. This fund is my broad long-term stock exposure. This bond fund is here to reduce volatility. This cash is for emergencies. This stock is a small satellite position, and I accept that it could disappoint. If you cannot write the reason, you may not own an investment. You may own a reaction. Fourth, check your contribution rule. If you already have an automatic long-term investing plan and your income, emergency fund, and goals are still intact, a market drop may not require you to stop. Stopping contributions every time the market feels scary can quietly train you to buy only when things feel comfortable. And markets often feel most comfortable after prices have already gone up. Fifth, check your buying rule. If you want to invest extra during drops, decide the rule before the drop. Maybe it is a small extra contribution when your target allocation is underweight. Maybe it is spreading extra cash over several dates. Maybe it is simply continuing the normal schedule and not adding extra at all. Any of those can be reasonable depending on the person. The point is that the rule should exist before panic or excitement takes over. Sixth, check whether you need to fix a structural mistake. If a market drop reveals that your emergency fund is too small, fix the emergency fund. If it reveals that your portfolio is too concentrated, build a diversification plan. If it reveals that your risky positions are too large, set maximum sizes. If it reveals that you do not know what you own, simplify. But do not confuse fixing structure with making a prediction. You are not saying, "I know what the market will do next." You are saying, "I know what my money is supposed to survive." That is a much better sentence. Now, one more thing. Beginners often ask, what if the market keeps falling? That is a fair question. And the honest answer is, it might. The market can fall more than you expect, for longer than you want, while still being a normal part of investing. That is why the plan has to work before you know the ending. If your plan only works when the market immediately recovers, it is not a plan. It is a wish. A real plan says, if the market drops, I will keep my emergency money separate. I will keep long-term contributions on schedule if my life situation has not changed. I will rebalance only by my rule. I will not use scary headlines as a trading system. And I will not buy random investments just because they are cheaper than last month. That is not flashy. But beginners do not need flashy during a market drop. They need survivable. Because the goal is not to win the week. The goal is to become the kind of investor who is still here years from now. So here is the final answer. When the market drops, beginners should pause, sort the money by deadline, check whether the reason changed, continue long-term rules that still fit, and fix any structural problems the drop exposed. Do not panic sell because the screen is red. Do not blindly buy the dip because the screen is red. Use the red screen as a test. What money needs safety? What money is truly long-term? What investment still has a reason? What decision needs a rule before the next drop? Before the next market decline, write one sentence for yourself. When the market drops, I will not react first. I will label the money first. That sentence can save you from a lot of expensive improvising. In the comments, tell me which bucket causes you the most stress during a market drop. Short-term money? Long-term money? Or learning money? And subscribe to Grow with Tony for more simple money lessons. Keep learning, keep growing your wealth. And remember, red numbers are loud, but they are not instructions.